Hey, it's Christopher with another episode of What's Brewing, and I'm here for part 2 of my interview with Connor Campo of Reve Coffee Roasters in Lafayette, Louisiana. But before we get into the video, let's roll that beautiful B-roll. Well, Connor, welcome back for part 2.
Thanks for having me, man. Again.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like a Spider-Man meme. You. Yeah. It's you, man.
It's me. It's me.
So when Reve got started, I'm sure that starting something like this has cost. It's a business, right? There are all these things that go into it. Tell us a little bit, like, what are some of the early or challenges that you feel like of owning a coffee shop? And I'm obviously, being a part of that process, seeing the behind the scenes. What are some of the challenges to doing it? Because all this is a beautiful build out. We love the place. You all are extremely popular. To me, you are the industry standard in Acadiana. You heard it here first. One man's opinion. But what are some of the challenges you feel like in doing this day to day that you've experienced?
I know the biggest challenge is, so if you hear in the coffee world, you'll hear that the South is like 5 years behind in coffee. So like we like the dark sludge, we like it basically motor oil. Yep. And so the thing here is, over here at Reve, we roast a lot lighter. So our coffee's a lot lighter because we want you to taste the flavor. We want you to taste the culture behind the bean. And so the darker you get the coffee, it takes away from the flavor. And so you can't taste it. So therefore we roast a lot lighter. And when you're roasting in an area where everybody's grown up on sludge coffee, it's a huge difference. People don't like it. And so that was one of our biggest things was you have these people coming up like, oh, can I have an iced caramel macchiato? Or like asking for drinks like that with all the flavors. So when we first opened, we were doing lots of stuff like that and just having to basically train a new culture in coffee. Be like, hey, there's so much more to coffee than just drinking dark coffee and then adding a ton of sugar to it and a ton of milk. Like there's actually flavor. You can enjoy a black cup of coffee. Yeah. And so that was our hardest thing, which Lafayette has been trained very well. I mean, the amount of times that we get just black coffee and pour overs and just a black iced coffee is way more than when I started 6 years ago, six and a half years ago.
It is a culture shift because I think a lot of folks, they grew up on coffee milk, I remember in college, my mom has been drinking coffee forever. I was not a big coffee drinker growing up. My friend Laura in college introduced me to coffee for the singular purpose of us being able to stay up and study. And so we would go to the Circle K and I would get a cappuccino, which I'm a diabetic now. That would basically kill me. Or come close to send me in a diabetic coma. I can't do it.
Sounds like a good way to go.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to do it, that's the way to go. Yeah. Either... For me, side note here, Mount Rushmore or something like something epic. I want to drink that cup of coffee on Mount Rushmore with an eagle going by. That would be like my moment. But that's where I started and have evolved ever since. In the last few years, I've become, as I've gotten older, I've made some decisions not to drink sugar. Obviously, I'm diabetic, but even just to eliminate any sugar alternatives. When we did our rooted roast, check it out, rootedroast.com. We started with a blend that was much lighter, and it was the first time in my life that I could drink a cup of coffee without adding a lot of sugar and or cream, and to the point where I didn't even need to. And that for me was eye-opening because it was like dark magic or light magic, I guess, where I felt like this was I'm breaking some natural law here for how things are supposed to work, and discovered that coffee tasted much more than what I thought it did for years. I'd masked those flavors. And for me, it's so good that there's a place here that's sort of elevating the experience, right? That's bold, right, to do that. That's challenging as a business to be the sort of spearhead trying to move, a group of people in mass forward. But I feel like you guys have done it very elegantly, very patiently, and with high quality. So I think y'all are the brand that everyone trusts. I think this has set the bar for a lot of folks in this area. Because I've been to other coffee shops in other parts of the country traveling, and y'all are creating the experience that's on par with other larger cities.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this. If someone wants to get in the coffee business, right? So my hope and dream is someday own a coffee shop. What does it take to get started? Like, obviously, I know that you guys have spent years developing this, so I don't want you to give away trade secrets here, but What would it take for someone who has the idea that I want to make coffee? I want to go do this. What does that take?
Yeah. Well, my boss has a saying is you will receive as much as you put in. And so what we get a lot is a lot of people are thinking, oh, I'm going to start a coffee shop, but only really wanting to put the bare minimum into the equipment and
There's
into
no
the coffee.
cappuccino machine for starting a coffee shop.
There's not. And so basically what it is like you're going to have to find price-wise, okay, what are you going to want quality-wise? So you can still get a decent machine at $4,000, like $4,000 to $6,000. Now, you can go high-end. Like if you want to get a nice Slayer machine, like those can cost up to $20,000, $25,000. Like they're expensive.
Those of you watching are thinking $20,000 for a coffee, right?
a machine that makes a $4 cup of Joe.
Yeah.
And so so it's just really you can do that. You'll have to get brewing machines. You'll have to find the right coffee, find the right blend that you want, and figure out your style. Some people if you're gonna do like frappuccinos and like some of the ice cream coffee, you're gonna need a darker flavored coffee because that's gonna pop more through the milk. And so you get to kind of find your culture and like the atmosphere of people that you want to reach, and you basically just try to tone in your coffee to that. And so it's like, all right, we do specialty. Like we want you to taste actual coffee. We would prefer you to drink the black coffee. So that's why we want to do the best way that we can by like brewing it, doing pour overs, doing just straight shots of espressos. So that's why we have the top notch gears, because we want you to taste the coffee behind it.
And it takes that kind of equipment to do that.
It does.
Right. It's like any other industry. You know, we were talking the other day, Mark and I, just about equipment. Even we were talking about cameras before this interview, that you can shoot something with an iPhone and it's fine. And that's where you start. But you'll notice that when you use certain equipment, you're going to get a different picture. More lenses, better lighting. If y'all were to see how many lights are around me right now, you would be blown away. And all that has a cost. But ultimately, it creates an experience, right? When you see this video, hopefully it creates a certain impression. But lesser lighting, lower quality lighting gets a lower quality image. Lighting has a huge thing. And it sounds like from that perspective of owning, coffee house, ultimately what people feel when they get that cup of coffee, there are a lot of investments that you need to make and also goals that you need to have about, it's more than just, I want to go serve coffee. That's a probably very oversimplified thing to say, like, I want to own a coffee shop. But there's all these other things. I almost feel like you guys are artists. You are crafting things, and you're like mixologists at a level, right? You are mixing things to arrive at a certain flavor, and again, which ultimately is a certain experience, like the blueberry, that idea of having something that tastes like blueberry, which is awesome. But that requires the machinery to get the nuance of the flavor out of the bean that you want, so that people have a certain experience.
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah. So tell me about this. Last question. You roast your own coffee. I'm assuming that folks can buy this coffee, but I'm assuming you help other coffee brands get started, right? So I'm assuming you resell this to folks so they can go and sell your wares and serve your coffee other places. What does that look like for someone who wants to do that?
Yeah, really what that looks like is that just reaching out to us. I mean, we get messages all the time, weekly, through emails, through Instagram. I mean, to just some people just somehow catching my number from some random person, and then sending me and calling me and be like at like midnight, like, yo, I want to start a coffee shop. And I'm just like, who are you?
Yeah, who are you? And I'll call you back tomorrow.
Exactly. So really it's just reaching out to us. We'll go through the process with you. We'll be like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do something that's more like a drive-through? Do you want to do something that's more like on the specialty side? So we'll figure out what your culture and what you want to do exactly. And then we'll go from there, like, okay, well, you'll need this type of machine. You'll need this espresso machine. You'll need to do, if you're going to do pour overs, then you're going to need this equipment for it. If you're going to do cold brews, when you do a cold brew toddy. And then after we figure out that, then we'll be like, okay, well, what kind of coffee do you want to serve? Do you want something? And normally, like, we'll give them like we got a little sheet of paper that they can be like, I want something that's chocolatey. I want something that's a little bit more lighter and fruitier. And so we'll go from there. And then after that, I'm literally going to go to their house. I'm going to go to their business, or they're going to come here. And we're gonna just get caffeine high, and we're gonna try all types of different coffee. We're gonna figure out what they want, and they're gonna be like, and then eventually we'll narrow it down to like, yes, we like this one. And so then we'll be like, okay, then we'll get all their information, we'll get them to sign up through us, and then we just start selling them coffee. And so normally I'll go and I'll have to do a training with them. We do free training with people that buy coffee from us. So I go to their spot and I train their staff, make sure, because obviously they're representing us as well. So we want to make sure that you are doing a good job of brewing our coffee. And so we will come and for free, if you're buying from us, we'll come to you and we'll train your whole staff, make sure that y'all doing what y'all doing it right, and then pretty much consult with them after that. Just make sure we'll check in on them, make sure they're doing good, be like, hey, we're getting some new coffees if y'all want to try some. And really it's just a relationship after that where we're now friends. 2 months ago, we were like completely strangers, like David at Huya. Like we were strangers a year and a half ago, and now I consider him a really good friend. And so that's
good people at Huya Craft Coffee.
Great people.
This isn't sponsored, but we highly recommend you stop by there.
I just love David, so I just had to throw it out there. But yeah, it just becomes a friendship after that.
And the packaging and what you do is so polished. I mean, if I didn't know any better, if I didn't know y'all personally and I didn't know you personally, you would think that this is a top shelf brand that you would buy like any other name brand out there. And I think that speaks to the level of fit and finish that you guys have put into your packaging and your processes. And again, we started off really Cafe Mosaic, John Street Java. I've been to these places, sort of followed it as it went, been around, and then watch it sort of grow overnight. And then buying a bag, and I was like, wow, this packaging looks like, I don't want to say professional, like it wouldn't be. But you've seen some folks. We built our own blend, and we couldn't afford a really nice bag. We had a good sealed bag, but it was, very plain. What you guys are doing here is phenomenal. And I'm a huge fan, love it, enjoy it every time I come. And I think, that's large in part to the culture you guys have, the way that your folks serve. They're so always engaging, always friendly. And I find that people here come back because they love what you're doing. People speak with their pocketbooks, right? We can enjoy a taste, but have a bad experience. But I think you guys blend that, no pun intended. Or maybe it was, I don't know. Where you blend that together so well where it's a really great product, but also really good people in a great environment. And to me, that is what has made Reve, to me, an outstanding place to come and visit. And I think is enhancing all of our palate and experiences in Acadiana, of course, and beyond.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. We are so thankful for Connor. Thanks for sitting down today.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
This is great. Getting to know these folks. If you guys don't know, go check out Cafe Reve. We're going to put all the links in the description below so that you can check them out on social media. If you haven't passed by, if you're watching this, you have not had the chance to enjoy their coffee, I highly recommend you stop by right now. Stop the video, go check them out, come back, finish it up. Trust me, you're going to love it. As always, we appreciate you watching our content. Do us a favor, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything that we're producing. As always, we hope you're doing well, we hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you in the next one.